And two, because Africa is the resource for the whole world. Well, what do I mean by that? The biggest resource in the 21st century is really not crude oil, it's people, it's intelligent people that can make things happen. While learning tech has been democratized, applying that skill to earn has not been democratized, meaning that the big tech still are not here. This is not where they are. The Silicon Valley is not yet here, even though they employ people remotely in Nsuka village, in Orandamoda and Zamfara state, if you have the skills, but we don't have that infrastructure.
Today we will be interviewing Dr. Arowolo Ayoola, who is a co-founder and lead of Data Lead Africa, a dedicated diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. Dr. Ayoola founded the Deaf in Tech project, which promotes inclusivity in STEM and higher education for people with disabilities. He has led various high-impact projects, including consulting on Nigeria's National Economic Recovery Growth Plan and mentoring entrepreneurs across Africa. Let's get into it. Hello. Okay. Hi, everyone. I have with me here Dr. Arowolo Ayoola. I hope I pronounced that perfectly.
Yeah, you did.
Perfect. So today we are just going to have a conversation, right? An interview, and speak with Dr. Ayoola about your experience within the technological space in Nigeria, particularly with regards to Data Lead Africa, which you are the co-founder and current lead of right now, and especially about Deaf in Tech, and then see how the experiences, the knowledge you've built within that time of building these different initiatives, what that tells us about Nigeria and Africa within the technological space that we are in and will be entering in the next decade or so. All right. So what I'll start with a simple question. If you could walk us through your journey of starting Data Lead Africa, how did that begin? And then how did we get into the place where we are in Deaf in Tech? And if you could give some context around what those are, just so that anyone who's watching this can understand what it is that you've built during this many years.
Thank you, Dumebi, for having me on your platform. And thank you. My name is Arowolo Ayoola, and Data Lead Africa, we started Data Lead Africa in 2016, registered with the government in 2017. And the journey began as an observable gap that we saw a gap in a skill gap in the African market where that needs to be filled urgently. So I started my career within the oil service firm, and while I was working with an oil service firm, they will bring their data experts all the way from the UK, from the US, and that really sparked my interest. That was the first time I was also going to be interfacing with something called data science, and these guys will write this programming codes, and do a lot of fantastic stuff for the organization. And that piqued my interest, and I wanted to learn. And I began my learning journey, started learning around 2006, post-university. And in 2017, we registered with the government, came up with four of us, and we co-founded the organization. And we just wanted to, we didn't even start it first as a for-profit. We just wanted to train people in the skills that we have gained. My colleague is a bioinformatician, so my co-partner, and he just wanted to share that programming skills. I was coming from a statistics, data analytics background. I just wanted to share that skill, how to use Excel, how to, that's how it all started. And light off. That's what happens when you are interviewing in Nigeria.
The Lord is helping us. We're being helped.
But not to worry. Light will be back just shortly. So that's how the journey began, and we registered, and it's been years of doing business now. For the Deaf in Tech, it began. It was very. It's a personal one for me. My roommate in the university is a deaf guy. Named Henry, very fantastic, very sociable, nice guy. And we're roommates. Fast forward post-university, I went on to start building my career, got a job in the oil service firm, moved on to do my master's, moved on to do my PhD. But somehow the system was skewed against my roommate. He couldn't make any progress post the university. And simply because the quality of education offered him, the society not being inclusive enough for him to be able to pick up marketable skills, sellable skills. So unlike me, even if the university didn't offer me what I wanted, I had so much opportunity with open learning, to leverage on YouTube, to leverage on so many other platforms to be able to learn, but to pick up new skills. But that's different for my friend who is deaf. There are no many resources online that provide these high-level skills for persons who are deaf. So, for instance, tech, you don't see any platform providing Python programming for deaf people. So it means that the society is skewed against him, So whatever he was able to get from that basic education, which is not sufficient to be able to negotiate for today's kind of job, that puts him at a disadvantage, And when I saw him many years after, he was working as a cleaner. Not really very, very impressed about that situation of his. Of course, there's dignity in labor, but for the kind of guy that I know my friend to be while we were in the university, if we had a very inclusive society, he had the capacity to be able to do more. He had the capacity to be able to negotiate from society more than he settled for. And returning from meeting him, I began to ask key questions. Why? So persons in the disability community do not have employable skills, and aside from not having employable skills, the society in itself do not think they are fit to do certain jobs. So even when they come into organizations to apply for jobs, they are rather given handouts, stipends to say, thanks for coming, more like giving arms instead of given opportunity to be able to meaningfully build a career. And that led us to start the Deaf Intech, which was a platform to be able to provide tech skills for deaf persons, and for the deaf community is double marginalized. I don't know how to describe that, but so if you see somebody on wheel, this person is disabled. If you see somebody blind, you can visibly say this person is blind. You see, for the deaf persons, it's different. Until they open their mouths to speak or you try to talk to them, you don't know who is deaf. So naturally, the society has no plan for them because the society don't interface with them that frequent. So there are plans for the blind, there are plans for persons on wheel, but there are no plans you don't see serious plans for persons who are deaf. So government policies mandating offices to have ramps because of persons with wheelchair. You see persons who are blind with guides, but persons who are deaf, no, because such plans are not made. But there's a double marginalization. People don't readily see them. They are not very visible to be helped, but they are there in the society. And so we came up with the Deaf Intech to provide that sellable skills. And that's what we've been doing since 2022. And we've provided training for very huge number of deaf persons already. We've done over 1,000 currently. And both graduates and young kids. We're also training young deaf kids in tech, preparing them early for a career in tech.
That's wow. That's a significant amount of lives you've touched, particularly through this. And what's interesting is that you did say it is true. I think when I think about policies with regards to folks who are underrepresented, particularly with